Welcome to Stoughton Media Access Corporation's Community Forum Show. My name is Steve Kelley, and today I have the pleasure of hosting the Stoughton Public Library's new building committee, right? And so I'll just address Joel Woke on the end, right? Or Walk, I'm sorry, I'm trying to work on that. Tom Gatsunas, the Owner's Project Manager, is that right?
That's correct.
Okay, is going to work sort of on behalf of the town.
That's correct.
Right?
Exactly.
And then we have Maureen Doherty, who is the Chief Procurement Officer.
I'm the procurement officer.
The procurement officer. So it's sort of, it's even better than Chief Procurement. It is the procurement officer. And many of you probably know Pat Basler, our public director, right? Stoughton
Library director.
Library director.
There you go.
All right. So we have exciting news for the audience. Pat, why don't you share about something groundbreaking, maybe?
So a lot's been going on in the last couple of weeks. We will have a groundbreaking ceremony for moving forward with the new building construction on Friday, June 23rd from 10 to 12, and the public is invited. And there'll be invitations and ads in the Penny Saver. But part of this show was also going to be talking about our move recently to 529 Washington Street, because we're in a temporary location for another 18 months, we think, until they renovate and expand the current library. So that's actually happening after 10 years of planning and moving forward and all that. So it's kind of exciting.
Yeah, it is. Now, and so we do want to talk a bit about your interim space, and we will get into that in a minute. But before we do that, is the procurement officer going to provide like coffee and donuts at the groundbreaking?
The procurement officer would love to, but she'll be coming back from a cruise,
Oh,
so she won't be there that day.
okay.
Actually, joking aside, Feingold and Alexander are our architects for this project, and they had donated some funds to provide coffee and pastries for the event. So we will have refreshments.
Good. So we'd like to see people there, right on site.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Right?
Yeah. On site at the old building,
Right.
84 Park Street.
And you'll be able to tell people like Tom and Joel, will be able to talk to people and say, here's what we're doing here. Maybe you'll have a table with plans. Is that expected? And you'll be able to share ideas and say, here's where we're going and things like that.
Yeah, well, this has been a 10-year project, so we have done many of these, step by step. This is where we are, decisions that we had to make to change the design a little bit, all of that. The groundbreaking ceremony, and this is all new to us, to me, because I haven't never gone through this before, is really the moment where you've finalized the design, you've hired the architects and the owner's project manager. We've all been working for over a year and a half to finalize the design. Maureen has put it all out to bid, and last Thursday they were able to hire a general contractor. So once that company takes over the site, it's theirs for the next year and a half. So the groundbreaking is to celebrate, yay, they're doing it, and to move forward. So it's the event where everybody has shovels in the ground.
You forgot, who is being buried, by the way? There are some people that, there was a list, right?
No, there's
no
dead bodies.
mistake.
No dead bodies.
No dead bodies. So
Yeah.
let me switch over to Tom. So, Tom, you and Maureen can talk about the process, if you would. Who's getting the job, and who is it that you're going to have to keep an eye on, if you would?
So the general contractor is M. O'Connor Company out of West Roxbury, Massachusetts.
Okay.
They were the low bidder for the project. It was a publicly bid project, and there are several filed sub-bids that will also be working for them. For example, the electrician, the plumber, the elevator contractor, those are all filed sub-trades.
Right.
But M. O'Connor will be the general contractor, and their low bid was $10,867,000. And I'm delighted to tell you that that is within our overall project budget of $14 million. So we are still on track, on budget, and on schedule.
Yeah, and we don't want to give the idea, maybe Maureen, you could address this. That doesn't mean there's $3 million left. Tell us where in other words, the 10.8 of the 14, where's the rest of the money?
So out of the rest of the money in the budget, out of the $14 million, we have to pay for our owner's project manager, and they provide us the expertise of somebody like Tom, and they also give us a person on site every single day to be the town's eyes and ears on the job.
Right.
We pay the architect for their fee for design, and because it's controlled construction in Massachusetts,
Yes.
that they have to have signed affidavits. They are are the owners of the project. Any changes, anything that happens has to be approved by them before it goes to the general contractor. So nobody can come up and say, I want to change this, I want to change that. It goes through the committee, to the owner's project manager, and to the architect. Then within that, there's other project costs. Pat's temporary site is part of that money, as well as any furniture, fixtures, and equipment are part of that budget as well. And that basically takes up the majority. We have a materials testing contract that we're just finalizing, and we should have awarded by tomorrow and signed contract on that, which will provide testing required under the code for both that and for the high school project.
Excellent.
And that's our 14 million.
All right. Joel, Vice Chair of the Building Committee, right?
Yes, sir.
Speak to me a little bit about the interim site.
Oh, you mean the temporary site?
Yeah.
The temporary site, actually Pat and Tom were more involved than I was, but from a funding perspective, it met the requirements that we had in terms of the budget that we had to do it, and we got pretty lucky. They can tell you the process and how they got there, and it's worked out well. I've been over there a couple times already. It doesn't make for a quiet meeting, but
Because you're trying to get so much done, yeah.
right, yeah,
It's a big
well,
open
but there's
space.
no meeting rooms. Everything is open, so okay,
Yes.
so we can't shout at building committee meetings anymore. So,
Yeah.
but it turned out to be quite well. They did a good job. I think what I'd like to just mention, if I could, Steve, is the fact that there are many of us on the building committee who are residents, and we are very interested in cost and budget control. And I think we are all satisfied that those controls have been met, and we intend to make sure over the course of the project that nothing gets exceeded. Maureen made a very good point. If something changes on the project, it has to go through a rigorous review to make sure it can be afforded, costed, and so on and so on. So as much as we love the library director, she can't literally go on the job and move things around because there may
I
be...
can't change the color of the paint,
Uh,
put in marble, they won't let me.
We can't let her do
Darn.
any of that. It has to be done because there are those of us, like Pat Colburn, who was on the Finance Committee, who are very interested in making sure that we're fiscally responsible for the entire project.
You've made a very strong, very good point, and it will be a great sort of a project for the future for other projects in town to say, this is how you do it,
I agree.
right?
Yeah.
That would be
I
great.
definitely
If
agree.
you can stay within a budget and then make it happen and have a good quality project.
Correct.
So I'd like to ask Gina, who's in the background. I also want to thank Gina Coe, Roy Cohen, Dave Young, Leo McGowan, all the background people. We want to thank them. They really do a great job. But I'm wondering, Gina, can you show us a few pictures right now, and we'll comment on them? So Pat, go ahead.
So this is the empty old library after we moved most of the furniture and the books out of there.
How many books?
70,000.
And where are the 70,000 books now?
They're all in the new location.
You moved them over,
We did. Yeah, the
amazing.
staff did, book by book.
book by book. Okay, go ahead.
This
And then
is, this is
go
an
ahead.
empty shot of the old Papa John's space.
Was it, how many thousand feet is that?
So this is about 15,000 square feet. It's long and narrow. It's almost the same size as the first floor of the old library. Papa John's only had the front 1,000 square feet, and
Yeah.
the rest was vacant.
Wow, that's a
So
big space.
We got all of that. Used to be Roxy's years ago, people say.
Yes.
This is when the shelving had started to come in, which was all donated from other libraries. We got a lot of donations of surplus shelving from Situate and Randolph
Oh, how
that's
nice.
been stored in the armory for years, and that was a huge help to us.
And these two fine volunteers are doing what?
This is Kim and Ashley. They're wrapping up really old bound newspapers from the 1800s that used to be in our cage in acid-free paper so we can take it to the temporary space. It's kind of a nasty job. This is Suzanne and Mary putting books back on the shelf in the new place.
Okay.
And this is Nina, Smadar, and Teresa before we had all the shelving in there. So it took us, we were closed for 10 days.
Uh-huh.
So we closed on the 3rd of May and we opened up on the 15th. So from the 3rd to the 13th.
And this
And
looks like a bunch of people too poop to pop.
This is half of the crew. We have 24 employees, full and part-time, and this was almost half of them that had just put in a really hard day at the almost end of the project. All the staff worked every day moving the 70,000 books, and then we hired movers to help with the furniture and the really heavy filled book carts. So yeah, they worked
Wow.
hard.
Wow,
It
that's
was
amazing.
a great group effort.
So tell us about the new space, the interim new space. Do you have your own office?
Yeah, for sure. I have a cubby. I have a cubicle like
Yeah.
everybody else.
You have a cubicle?
So the way, what was it, like January of 2016, we decided we had to find a temporary space once the project started moving forward. So Gary Alacqua, who's the chair of our committee, Tom, myself, and Paul Jaffoon, who is the facilities maintenance for the town, director for the town, we got into 2 vehicles and we drove around town with a list of commercial spaces that were 5,000 square feet or more.
Right.
And in the past, most libraries generally just go into a temporary space that's no more than 5 or 6, maybe 7,000 square feet. And Tom had been telling me all along that's all I was getting. And right around that same time, that summer actually, Randolph was going through a minor project. And so they were out for 8 months, I think. And they have a similar size building to ours, similar age, similar size staff. They put them in a 5,000 square foot dress barn next to Shaw's.
Wow.
In the center of Randolph. So all the staff took time in 2s or 3s and they went over and visited it because I wanted everyone to be able to get their head around what we were potentially facing and looking at this as the worst case scenario. And Randolph did a fabulous job. They made that dress barn look like a Barnes & Noble. They tried to do most of their programs. There's no programming space, so you have to, like we're doing programs right now in the Y, at the Youth Commission and Council on Aging, over at the schools, at the middle school and the high school. You can't do everything in a temporary space, but we wanted, if possible, more space than 5,000 square feet. And Tom just kept saying, no, you're never going to get it. We can't afford it. This is what you're going to get. And then miraculously, over time, I think it was the building commissioner, it was Tom McGrath, at a meeting one day, he said, call this guy. He has a lot of space that's not noticeable, that you wouldn't be aware of. His name's John Bovarnik. He inherited that whole plaza.
Yeah.
And we negotiated with him for what, probably a year and a half.
Mm-hmm.
Some may say we harassed him. I mean, we really were persistent in saying, come on, you can make this work. But in the end, we got 15,000 square feet. The staff is very pleased because it's not a dress barn and we're not on top of each other. And we were able to bring all of our books. We weeded heavily, but then we were able to bring the majority of, at least 2/3 of everything we had at the old library. So we can function. We just don't have meeting room space. And we won't for a year and a half.
So a good shout out to Ellen Green over at the Y for
yes,
helping out.
Yes, thank you very much to her
Yeah.
and the school system. Dr. Rizzi and all the principals at the middle and the high school are wonderful. And then, of course, Karen McDonald at the Council on Aging and the Youth Commission.
Wow.
It's been a great effort, I have to say. Everybody felt really good about finding the space and then the landlord being able to make it functional for us. We had to get cabling, wiring, all of that over there. And it was...
Right.
It was a project.
And I just want to add, I don't want people to think that we're paying for 15,000 square feet when I said we can do it in 5.
Yeah.
5 was very conservative. We really needed 7. Where we got 15,000, we're paying for 8.
Is that because of Maureen?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Well,
And the town manager, you probably have to give him some credit.
it was a long process when we started looking for space because under the law, we had to put it out to bid.
Yes.
And we got absolutely nobody to
Right.
respond at first. So then it put us into a situation that we were going to look for space under a unique acquisition. And when we looked at any vacant space that was open, there was no space other than this that could support the weight load of the library books.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we
So
had
kind of-
3 criteria. We
Right.
wanted it to be within walking distance of the schools,
Yeah.
have plenty of parking,
Yeah.
and preferably a concrete floor to hold the weight of the stacks.
Yeah.
And anything we could find was a small space in an industrial park. And
Yeah.
so it wasn't close to the kids being able to access us. And that was really, we have the bat bus right out front.
It's a good win.
The kids
Right.
can get there from the middle school and the high school and the west school. It's great. The whole
Well,
It's
neighborhood.
good, no, it's fine. No, I think it's well. I mean, one of the more interesting things that happened is that there's a new hardware store over there. I don't know if you've
Yes,
noticed.
next
and
door. It's a wonderful hardware store.
It's a
yes.
very nice place,
Good
and I think
value.
they're thrilled about the fact that the library is temporarily next door because they're getting some walk-in traffic from that, so.
Right.
Yeah.
So
We wanna
you can
encourage
go
that
to the
kind of
library,
new
get a
business.
book, and then go to the hardware store and pick up what you need.
Good
Yeah.
for you. That's a nice push. I like that.
That's a way of looking at it.
Yeah.
And
So-
Family Dollar's on the other side.
And
I don't
Family
wanna give
Dollar
them
too,
short
so we give them a little push. We
Yeah.
want all the businesses in town to do well, yes. So Gina, out in the back, we have a video to show the new interim space. So let's see if we can run that, and that will sort of let the audience know and open us up for some questions with our group afterwards.
Welcome to the new Stoughton Public Library in our temporary location at 529 Washington Street. I'd like to give you a quick tour of how we've set up our new space. So when you first walk into our new space, which as you can see is very bright and well lit and open, we have the adult literacy section on the left-hand side. We still have our sale table and a copier for the public, and a little waiting area by the front door in case students or adults are waiting to be picked up. Then as you walk through the building, the first thing you'll see on your left is the adult literacy department. We have two women, Smadar Jikow and Sandy Government, who run this program, and they train adult volunteers to tutor adult learners. It's a very busy program, and every year we have 5 or 10 adult learners who become U.S. citizens. In the center of the building, we have the circulation desk, and this is where all the business happens. This entire space used to be Papa John's, and then the rest of it was vacant for the last 10 years. It's about 15,000 square feet, and when we signed the lease, the owner, John Bovarnik, guaranteed us that he would grind down the floors, which as you can see almost look like Italian marble. All the walls have been painted. We have brand new, very bright LED lighting. The only downfall is the building is very big and open and sound carries. But other than that, we're very pleased at being in this space for a year and a half during the construction of our new library. In the center front, we have the young adult section, which as you can see, we have some students working, and we also have a tutoring pair. We have plenty of computers for teens and adults. So this is our new children's area, and we have two children's librarians, Barbara Pally and Amy Dean, and this is our Storytime rug, and we do all of our crafts. As you can see, we have plenty of space to do crafts and Storytime and any other programs that come up. Next week, I think we are going to have Curious George's birthday party, so please call the library and come to that. And on the left here, we have a senior, a patron from the Senior Volunteer Program, Bev Dancy, who is helping clean the children's books for us. This is one of the things that we're very lucky that we have so many volunteers in Stoughton. So now we'll move on. I just want to point out all the shelving along the walls were donated by Randolph Public Library, Turner Free Library. Situate and Randolph libraries have both gone through the building project before us, and when they had surplus shelving stacks, which are steel and very expensive, they asked us if we wanted to keep them for our project. So the DPW from Stoughton went to Situate and Randolph, picked up the surplus stacks, stored them in the armory, and a couple weeks before we moved in here, we had them delivered, and then we, Paul Jaffoon was able, let's move down here where it's a little quieter. Paul Jaffoon was able to get the sheriff's office to bring down a team of community workers who spent 2 days with us, and they were able to clean off, organize, measure all the shelves to be the right height, and get it ready for us so that we could move in. let's come around this way. Over in this area is all the adult, we have DVDs, we have the travel books, we have reference, we have a lot of computers for the public. Our magazines are in the back. Over in the left corner is we can walk over there and I can show you the outreach services. We were able to bring over the outreach services. Christine Yakabuchi runs that, and she's here 20 hours a week. You can call the library, and if you have a homebound patron in your family or somebody who's temporarily unable to drive, that she will bring books to your house, or large type books or audio books or whatever you like. She's out making some runs right now delivering to homebound patrons. We have a very big collection of audio books for people who have vision problems and just need to listen to books. The great thing about this space is we were still able to keep our adult reading area where we have newspapers and all the magazines. The owner of the property, this is a lease, so we're renting this for 18 months. He was able to construct 2 public bathrooms and 2 bathrooms for the staff. I have to say we couldn't have done this without people in town who were extremely generous, such as W.B. Mason and Ed Redman. He was able to donate, if you scan down this wall here, we have, I think, 12 separate donated lightly used cubicles from another office. And by setting these up here, we were able to create a separation between the public space and the workspace because there were no other walls in this whole area. So when you come down here, these are some of the stacks that were donated by Situate. When we're done with this project, we will store these for the next library in the South Shore that's doing a building project and donate our surplus to them. So this is just something that really, we help each other, and it saved us months of planning for moving because we could move we were able to move in 10 days because we already had stacks and the space set up before we were able to start the actual process. Now you're coming into the workspace. And here we have all the custodial storage, all of our storage from the cage in the old building. We have, 200 years worth of old newspapers wrapped in acid-free paper to protect them. Some of them are bound, some of them aren't. These are all our supplies storage. The cubicles for the different staff are here. This is the workroom where the books get ordered and processed. There's Brian Rothwell setting up a voicemail system for us, and Jessica Gustafson is the secretary. And then if you come down to the end, we have a staff room that really doesn't give anyone any privacy, but it is a space where people can relax and get away from being at the desk. I hope you enjoyed the tour, and I hope we see you here soon. We'll be here all summer. We'll be here actually until next, we think the new building will be ready July or August of 2018. So come down and visit us at 529 Washington Street. Thank you.
So we're back in studio with the library team now, and that was quite a tour. You get to show us, Pat took us through everywhere, including the handicapped accessible bathroom, which I liked.
Yeah, that was Jeffrey Pickett. He was the cameraman.
Yeah, and we do want to give a shout out to Jeff and Mike Hammond as well. So they're always trying to find great ways to benefit the town through this wonderful studio. So this is great. So I have a question that came up as I was thinking. What's going to happen when you make the move to all that temporary shelving? You're going to find a library to give it to, or what happens next?
That is what we do as librarians. We share.
Yeah, so there's going to be quite a bit of stuff, right?
Right. So when we got our funding back in 2011, 2012, there was 33 libraries on the list. We're at the end of that list now. So they're doing a whole new funding cycle, which I think the awards come out in July, and I know at least 5 libraries on the South Shore applied. So they will benefit from having any surplus shelving we have, plus the stuff that we got from Randolph and Situate. Because when you go through this kind of a move, you can do it much quicker if you can have the shelves set up before you start the move. So yeah,
Good, and I'm sure you're looking forward to writing a nice letter for Tom's company, right? Dataless Projects, is that
That's
it?
correct, yes.
Yeah, and you want to be looking at those next 5 libraries that
That's
get
right,
funded.
absolutely.
So once you get good at something, right, it just
That's-
makes it a little easier as you move forward.
That's right, exactly.
Good. So as I envision libraries of the future, I'm going to ask a kind of a pointed question that, maybe not a curveball, but it's one that you want to, I think, handle. Are we getting to a point where libraries have to change dramatically? Back in the day, not everyone had a computer that they could go to, and they certainly didn't have access to the knowledge that is there now, almost from home. So you don't have to go to a library. So what about how the design of this new place answers a sort of differing need?
So there is a changing trend in how libraries are being used, but I'm not sure we'll ever get to a point where everyone will be able to afford to have a computer at home. Having a cell phone might be, a point where everybody can reach, but it's the cost of the monthly internet charge. And when you come through our library every day, every single one of the 10 or 12 public access computers are full all the time. It's just amazing. Or they come in and they use the wireless accessibility. So we have a lot of tables that are next to poles with electric outlets, and people just come and sit down and they plug them in because they don't have that access in their home. So it really is an economic, libraries began as an economic equalizer. They're supposed to provide education for everybody regardless of financial ability. And whether it's books or access to the internet or whatever the future thing is that people need access to, for it to be a level playing field to survive in this world, you need to have a place where people can have access to all of that. And I think newer libraries don't necessarily need to be physically bigger to hold more books. We actually reduced our book stack footprint a little bit in the new design. But they do need to be spacious enough and flexible enough so that people can do different things there, whether it's community activities or group events or small meetings.
Yep.
It is, in this town especially, it really is, I think, the social center where the community can meet each other and connect and improve their life.
So it's sort of an epicenter for the community. What about if, now in the new library, that's a year and a half down the road, hopefully, if there's no delays, is if I wanted to have a meeting, Boy Scout Troop 7, could I call you and say, hey, can I reserve a
Oh my
room?
gosh, you will have so much access to space. This town has a very big shortage. I mean, Town Hall, there's just only 2 meeting spaces in Town Hall. They don't even have a staff room in Town Hall. There's just not enough meeting room space town-wide. I think there's one space, a conference room in the police station.
Yes.
That's used a lot. When the new building is open, we will have a 200 capacity community room for events,
Yep.
lectures, activities, whatever. We'll have a glassed-in children's storytime place, which will make the building more quiet. A glassed-in teen workspace so that they can do their own stuff and be seen but not heard necessarily. And then we'll have a small historical conference room upstairs for quiet research, a room that seats 50 as a training room or conference room for any purpose. And then we'll also have 3 quiet rooms that hold 2 people each, and then another one that holds 4. So there'll be plenty of space and different ways of using it for almost any possible need.
Very good. Let me switch gears a little.
Okay.
Tom, tell me about the timeline, just a kind of a,
Sure.
Like a Gantt chart. Just
Yep.
go through the construction as you see it. The groundbreaking is June 23rd.
That's correct.
So
And
go
the-
ahead, give us a rundown.
Notice to proceed, we're projecting will be issued on June 20th, so just before the groundbreaking.
Okay,
We're in the process of having the contractor review and sign and fill all of the holes, I'll say, in the contract. What I mean by holes is all of the spaces that they need to put their specific information into, which will then be reviewed by the town and the town's council, attorney, to make sure that there are no no real holes in the contract,
Right.
nothing missing.
Right, it could have been somebody, whoever it was, has to fill in those pieces.
That's correct.
It's not like there's holes,
No.
there are spaces to
Right.
put in the details.
Right, but then we do a final review to make sure that there actually is nothing missed and that we do have a very tight contract
Good.
for the contractor and for the protection of the town. So the groundbreaking, as we said, is on the 23rd. Construction proceeds right after that. It will continue throughout the winter. There will be no
Now,
stoppage.
are we saying construction or destruction to start? Is there demolition?
There's selective demolition. The building, it's basically, we're going through a gut rehab of the building.
Okay.
So, but we won't be knocking the existing building down.
Okay.
We'll be taking out some of the walls and some of the front facade and extending out over the second floor. But it's a gut rehab of the existing building.
Okay,
All the utilities come out, all the mechanical systems, everything will be new, but the bones, the actual structure of the building will remain.
now, if I wanted to do a walkthrough in December, would you say, sorry, there's no public invited now? Would you schedule something like that? I'm just curious.
Walkthroughs like that can happen, but as you can imagine, it's an active construction site. There's a need for them to be very carefully, I'll use the word choreographed, because we have to make sure that anywhere where the public is walking through is safe for the general public to walk through. Nobody will be allowed on site without an escort from our company.
Hard hat and the whole
Hard
routine,
hat,
yeah.
safety glasses, correct shoes, no open-toed shoes, no sandals like Pat's wearing, won't be allowed. Don't necessarily have to wear steel-toed boots, but
Yeah.
you need the proper protection for a construction site. And as I said, nobody will be allowed on the site without being accompanied. And to the degree and pretty much as a standard practice, we won't just take someone through if they walk in. It has to be scheduled and noticed in advance and approved through the building committee.
Okay, good. And so we have the beginning of the project.
Yep.
Just like give us every 6 weeks or every 2 months. Tell us what will be accomplished out of your memory. I know.
Sure. Well, the ultimate date is July 30th of 2018 is when we move back in.
That's not 18 months.
Right. That says 18. I keep telling her the date.
Okay.
Being optimistic.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, because that's really only 13 months.
Right.
All right.
Right.
But that's just for construction.
That's for construction.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
And then there'll be plenty of time to do like finish, like carpet and things like
Well,
that.
no,
That's
That
part of
includes
right. After that is then the moving in of the furniture, which takes a little bit of time, as you can imagine.
Yeah.
But carpet, ceiling finishes, paint, all of that is part of the overall construction. Again, projected end of July 2018.
And then technology has to be worked
Correct.
on. Probably takes a month to make sure that
Yes.
stations work, I
Yes,
bet.
that's right.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
right.
Good.
Shake all of those pieces
And Joel,
out.
where will you be during all of this? I mean, are you going to be like in Tom's back pocket, or you don't?
I don't think so.
You don't,
but
you don't have
Not
to
in
do
my
that. I
back
mean,
pocket.
what
I
do
don't
you?
But we
believe back
work
pocket
together.
is the right way of
Right.
looking at it, but
Yeah.
because my experience and background is in construction and construction management, especially public construction, I will be coming out to the project site on a regular basis. I won't be coming out every day, but they will be, for example, weekly meetings where the architect and Tom's people and other people from the ownership get together where they discuss common problems that might be going on. So
Yeah.
I'll probably be attending a bunch of those, but I want to also be taking some tours of the site. But once again, even though I'm very familiar with construction and I've taken the OSHA construction safety training courses, I'm still not going to do it by myself. I'm still going to do it with Tom's people. I believe that in my conversations with the town manager, we're going to be producing a procedure for people who want to go and visit the site so that we don't have people just, as Tom said, showing up out of the clear blue and saying, I'd like to walk around, but you
Yeah.
know.
I want to see the new library now.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
so there will be a procedure that we're going to be setting up and that we'll follow because, as Tom said, construction safety is very paramount, and both of us have been in construction projects as well as Maureen for many years, and we know when something goes bad safety-wise, how bad that can be, and it's our goal to make sure that this project is 100% accident-free and we're working with everybody, and we don't want anybody to get hurt. So that's how we're going to be able to do it.
Well, Maureen, let me pull you in a little
Yeah.
bit. How much involvement as as the procurement officer do you have in the actual goings on of construction, or is it that you rely on other people to ask for payments at a certain time, and then you have to just make sure that you comply, or what more is it than that?
Well, as far as we in the procurement office administer the contract, that we make sure that when the payments come in, it's called a requisition. There's a pencil rec, as they call it, every month, that Tom and his staff, as members of the building committee, the finance team on the building committee, will go through and make sure that they're not billing in advance for work that is done.
Right.
That they keep it, in accordance with the percentage of work done. So that gets reviewed, signed off. We make sure that that's all in compliance. Any other bills that come in from the owner's project manager or the architect come in, those are all reviewed by the finance team on the building committee, and we process those and put those through. Under the state law, we have to pay those bills within 15 days, or they can come after us for interest. So I worked with Bill Rowe, and we set up a separate warrant system, so those could go through quicker than any other bills that should go and presented for payment. So we have that. One of the other things we also monitor is the insurance certificates. And so when they talk about people coming in on the site and looking at processes, we also have to deal with the contractor, because once they sign the contract, they get their notice to proceed, it's their site. It's no longer the town site. We have really no right to have access to it. So when we look at their procedures, they might say, we don't want anybody on the site except the people who are going to be there for the job meeting. So that's something that we have to realize, that there may be people that want to come through. I mean, other than fire, that has a right, the building inspector, by right under the enforcement code practices, they have a right to come in and do it. So we have to work with them to make sure that we establish guidelines that are in accordance with their safety plan. So it's not just something that's easy that you can do it. So that's why we're making a deal of that. The next big procurement piece is the FF&E, the furniture, fixtures, and equipment that we have to go out to bid for. It's probably more complicated than anything else you could ever bid. There's 10,000 little pieces that you have to do. You have to schedule delivery and acceptance and setup. So that will take a big part of my life to be involved in
will
that.
you have to do that 6 months ahead of time?
We'll
So
be
you'll start in
starting.
January, maybe?
We'll be starting that in August.
This August?
This August. It's a
So
long process.
It must be a long process.
Long
It's gonna
process.
keep you busy.
Busier. So
And this is only one, she and Joel are both on the high school building committee as well. And they're both kind of going simultaneously.
Right.
So procurement for all of that, plus the entire town.
right.
Like highway construction, DPW, all of it.
So you're going to be busy.
We currently manage 187 contracts right now through the procurement office. So this is above and beyond the normal operations of the town.
I don't know if you're going to get paid, Tom.
I think you will.
Yes.
It's a good system.
You're going to have
Maureen
to be
has kept
chasing
us
Maureen.
paid as we're going.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because it keeps people from crabbing at me. So we push those bills through.
I just can't imagine doing this project without having a really well-run procurement office, because I don't know who would be making the decisions. You know, we generally, most department heads don't know how to put something out to bid of this magnitude.
Yeah, I don't think I would either.
No, it's the, you know.
Now, what about state reimbursement? How's that all going to come together?
So we received the grant. We were awarded the acceptance of the grant in 2012, but they placed us 30th on the list of 33 by need. So we were less needy than the people higher up. 3 years ago, they started releasing the funds, or at the end of, I'll say a little over 2 years ago. And so we have received I think at the end of this month, we will have received 3/5 of the almost $7 million. So it's just sitting in the town's account somewhere. And we have been paying some of the costs that we've accrued so far out of that. In the next, so we get say almost $7 million. They send a fifth of it each year for 5 years. The town treasurer, at some point this fall, will probably put bonds out to match those funds, because in the next, well, now apparently 13 months, we'll have to pay out the whole project, because the bills will come due.
Okay. Now, a person who was very concerned about their real estate bill is going to say, how much more is this going to cost me? Has that been figured out?
It has, and this is the confusion that people seem to have, regardless of how many times we explain it. The town of Stoughton, up until the high school project, never voted any kind of an override. Not a debt exclusion, not a regular override, ever, since the 1980s when they passed Proposition 2.5. All the surrounding towns have had multiple overrides, generally for schools, some even for operations of their town. Stoughton has always been very fiscally conservative and well managed. We've built other buildings in the past, the police station, the second fire station, the Council on Aging, and the DPW expansion, all through some combination of grants and borrowing and then just paying it off. Mm-hmm. This was funded, the matching funds for the grant was funded through a borrowing article back in 2012. That's within the town budget. It doesn't increase anyone's taxes. The high school project was so large, there was no way that could be accommodated without doing a debt exclusion override, which is increasing taxes for a set period. I think it's 20 years for that. And then after that's paid off, it'll go back to whatever the taxes should be at that point.
Okay, so it actually has a flat effect.
Correct.
Except, let's talk about the good effect. What does it do for people interested in coming to Stoughton?
Well, I think it can be a very big selling point to have a brand new high school, state-of-the-art high school, and a brand new public library. Stoughton has a lot of great qualities already to attract people to town. It's got a very diverse community. It's got great shops. It's got a lot of small businesses. It's an exciting, vibrant town, but you have to upgrade your buildings periodically. And I think between the library and the high school, it says a lot about the commitment that people have to the town.
So that's going to help, attract people that are interested in having a good civic town.
If
Kind of
I could take a shot at this one.
Please.
Okay, I actually ended up attending with Pat, actually, a meeting of the Downtown Development
Friends of Stoughton Center.
Friends of Stoughton Center. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, and
FOSC.
while I was there, I mentioned to them that in the long run, what they're going to be seeing from Stoughton Center is this library. Now, the existing library that's there had big trees in front of it. And I'll be honest with you, in the number of years that I traveled up and down 27, like going to Brockton or something, it took me a while to realize there was actually a library behind those trees.
Right.
Those trees are now all gone, and they now will have a very 21st century looking building, which you'll be able to see probably from Stoughton Center. Okay, so I think it's going to be a remarkable look that the center is going to inherit when they get this library built, and I think it's going to be for the benefit of the town. And yes, I believe that people will start thinking more and more about coming to Stoughton once they see these new facilities.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it's going to be almost a boon to get people excited about Stoughton, a new high school, a new library. Very forward thinking. I do have another question that's building related, so
Sure.
Tom, maybe you can help me. I mean, we are living in the new age of terrorism. What kind of things are we doing that would help secure the building?
Well, for some of the obvious reasons, I won't go into the details of the security systems that are being put into the
Good
building.
idea.
But
We're just going to tell you the code. Just
right.
Here's how this works.
Right. But the building will have current modern day features, video surveillance, an appropriate alarm system, burglary theft, fire protection, fire prevention systems in the building. It is designed with the times that we live in mind.
It wasn't
So-
meant to be such a
No,
tricky
no,
question.
no, and I'm just
But
trying to answer
I
it
really think
correctly
we
and
have
appropriately.
to, as a
Absolutely.
public now, we have to have a different lens
Yes.
on public
Yes.
buildings. It's not
right.
what it was back in the day.
Right. And what I meant by that, Steve, is that there aren't places where one could go and hide in the building. And that's done intentionally. So there aren't those hiding places where someone with ill intent could go and do bad things.
Yeah,
It's been specifically designed so that that can't happen. And any of those places that aren't as visible as we would like them, there's video surveillance there.
right. And that probably is a little bigger piece of the budget than you might have wanted, Pat, I would think.
Well,
You know, each piece is,
Well, was it,
But at the same
Yeah.
time, we
Wasn't
also
too
had to
bad.
make sure that the building did not feel like or have the presence of a fortress, because that's not what it is. This, you know, your town library is the family room, if you will, to the community. So it's where people should come and feel comfortable and be welcomed and want to spend time there. So there's a lot of careful design that went into it, and I really think that between the building committee and our architects, they did a great job in making sure that the building was very welcoming, but people will be safe in it.
And I just want to add, we did have a Alice training actually in our old building last year around this time. And that allowed
tell the audience what that is.
I can't remember what the letters stand for, but schools do it now. It's to train the staff in a school or a public building setting to appropriately respond to an outside intruder.
Okay,
So the police, the Stoughton Police Department, several of their staff have been trained in this nationwide protocol. The schools have had the training for a couple of years now, and we had our first one last June or July. And the reason we did it was, I have 24 full and part-time employees. We want the staff to feel safe, but we also want to make sure that anything did happen, we would be prepared enough to react responsibly and help protect the patrons as well. Because, I mean, on an average day, I have 300 to 500, on a busy day, 800 to 1,000 people in and out of the building.
right.
So at any one time, there could be 80 to 100 people spread around the building. So you want to just make sure that everyone's on the same page about how to respond to that. And so in the design process, we had a lot of conversations about, do we need another exit on the first floor on that side of the building? You know, does that stairwell, should that be open or should that be closed? So we really did incorporate those based on a lot of the staff's input as well as discussions we had on the building committee.
Good.
So I feel pretty good that it's going to be a safe, opening, welcoming committee.
All right, so I'm going to I wanted to ask a little bit about green energy. So I think Tom, maybe Joel would be able to input on that. But before we did it, I wanted to see, do we have any announcements that we need to get to? So I think we'll switch to announcements now, and then we'll come back and talk a little bit about the green energy side of the building.
Hi, it's Gary LaPierre, and the crew wants to thank Maxie's Delicatessen. That's at 117 Sharon Street in Stoughton. They're 781-341-1662. American Cancer Society, yes, they're looking for volunteers. Drive cancer patients to and from their treatments. 1-800-ACS-6662, or just go to www.cancer.org. Ilsa Mark's Food Pantry in St. Anthony's Free Market, 2 Park Avenue in Stoughton. For more information, call Christine Gallagher. That's at 781-341-0611 or 781-341-0549. Meals on Wheels. Just ask for Jessica. You'll find her at 781-344-8882, extension 2. Stoughton Penny Saver. Our business is advertising your business, they tell us. 27 Rose Glen Street, Stoughton, 781-344-4833. Community Forum Showtimes in Stoughton. It's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at 6 p.m., Monday at 8 p.m., Tuesday at 5 p.m. It's on Comcast Channel 9 and Verizon Channel 28. All comments and suggestions welcome. Contact us at communityforum1@yahoo.com. Samaritans, they're at 41 West Street on the 4th floor in Boston, 02111. Their phone number is 617-536-2460. 24-hour helplines for Samaritans, and the number is 877-870-HOPE. That's 877-870-4673. Samaritans, you can find them at 800-252-TEEN. That's 252-8336. Or find them online at samaritans.hope.org.
And we have a couple more PSAs to give you, and one is a Monday night bingo at a Harvest Torah congregation. That's at 1179 Central Street in Stoughton. Doors open at 4:30. The actual games start at 6:30. Come on down. The Harvest Torah is one of the best places that you can go. Bingo is fun. The people are fun. It's a great thing to try out. If you love bingo, go see a Harvest Torah. And we also have right here is this wonderful picture, and this is the announcement, if you would, for the June 23rd groundbreaking. And you can see how bright and brilliant this new building is going to be. As Joel was telling us, you'll be able to see it from Mars. So it's very cool looking.
I recall seeing it that
And we'd
way.
like you to come down, and maybe you could even extend a thank you to Gary Alacqua and Joel. Especially, I mean, not to mention, Maureen and Pat, who are also part of their job, but they also deserve a pat on the back. But there are a lot of volunteers who've really stepped up, and it might be nice to stop in and just say, thank you for volunteering to get this underway, and so that we have a facility that's state-of-the-art going into the future. So again, it's June 23rd. I think it's around 10 a.m.
10 a.m., 10 to
10
12.
a.m. And there'll be lots of coffee and maybe, I hope not donuts, but something that you can have there.
Nice refreshments.
Nice refreshments. Pat has filled in the space. Okay. All right. So we're back with the group, and I just want to touch base. We have a few minutes left, and maybe each of you could contribute the one thing that we should have said that we didn't. So let me hold for you, and let me say, Maureen, what else should we just let the audience know about?
I think one of the important things to let the audience know that this is a really good building committee. We have expertise on this building committee, and similarly with the high school building committee that we've never seen before in Stoughton. We have professionals with years and years of construction experience that we've pulled together to make sure that we have great buildings going forward, that we can say we've done it right on this project and on the high school project, and have buildings we can be proud of for many years to come.
Well spoken. Let me go right to the 100-year veteran, Joel. So that, we can add
I'm
to
feeling
all
old
of that
now.
experience. So Joel, tell us a little bit about what did we miss that we should be letting the audience know?
Well, I'm going to give you actually a little speech that I've given you before on this show, which is the fact that even though I haven't lived in Stoughton that many years, I have learned about the two past projects from a number of people who were very unsatisfied at how they turned out and what happened and some of the bad things that happened there. And once again, to give the assurances that between Tom's people at Daedalus, our architect, and as Maureen puts it, the construction professionals that are on the building committee, it's not going to happen for this building. This building will be carefully watched, will be carefully analyzed, and we have a commissioning agent who is going to come in and make sure that all the systems are working properly, including the exterior wall so it doesn't leak. So all these things are going to be done. So I just want to assure the residents of Stoughton that the quality of the construction is going to be far and away top priority for all of us on the committee, and it should show.
Thank you. I
You're
really
welcome.
mean that. Thank you for giving all your time to just say, look, I'm going to make this thing happen in the best possible way. And I can actually feel your input. You really can. This is going to happen. We're going to make it good. So Tom, let me have you add into that.
Sure. And just to touch on the commissioning agent just a little bit, not only are they brought in at the end, they're brought in throughout the construction process. So before things get covered up, they're checking. It's another set of eyes to make sure that the town is getting what it paid for. I also just want to say, on the paid point of view, that this is one of the most fiscally conservative projects that we've been involved with, in a very good sense. In the bad sense, it was a budget that was set several years ago, but we're adhering to that $14 million figure that the town set. And we've worked hard as a group with our architect Feingold Alexander and this building committee to make that a reality. And it is a reality now based on the budget figures that are the bid figures that we received. We are on budget. We will continue to stay on budget. Hasn't been easy, but it's not, and I don't want people to think that it's a cheap project. That's not what I meant whatsoever. It's a fiscally conservative project. We're using good materials, but using them in the right way and the right quantities to get a building that's going to last 50 to 100 years, but be modern and fill the needs of today and the future.
All right, well said.
Thank you.
So, Pat, we have a few minutes. You get to kind of round us up and
Well,
all our thoughts
Okay.
about this move and the interim and then the final result and the way it serves the people.
Well, what I'd really like to do is thank the staff for helping to move the building, because I met with some other librarians who were planning this in the future, and they just kept saying, how did you get your staff to do this? And I said, I didn't get them to do it. They wanted to. They have pride in their space. They have pride in making sure everything went to the right location. So they're just fabulous. And then the people on our committee that aren't here today, Gary Alacqua has been the chair for this committee and the committee 10 years ago. He really has stuck it out all the way through. Harvey Levinson is the chair of our Board of Trustees. He's on the committee. Joe Palermo works for Skanska, big construction company. He's on the committee. The town engineer and Mark Tisdale and Paul Jaffoon. Those are both town employees, and Maureen, of course. But they have all made this committee really knowledgeable, because I'm just a librarian. But these people really, I can move the ball forward, but these people really are making this happen in the right way.
I'm just a librarian. I'm not buying that. Have you seen that TV show, The Librarian?
Yeah, I have.
And the librarians have power. It's all about information.
Well, we're persistent. That's what I'm
well,
saying.
You've done that,
Yeah.
and you deserve a lot of kudos. The whole group does. Thank you for all your hard work. And I want to thank the audience for watching. And we're all going to keep a good, strong eye on the new library as it comes to fruition. Also want to thank the crew out back, Leo McGowan, Roy Cohen, Gina Coe, Dave Young, Mike Hammond, and Jeff Pickett. Thank you all for all your hard work. My name's Steve Kelley, and we're signing off on Community Forum.